So many people are great at setting boundaries at work or in friendship groups, but crumble when it comes to the guilt that often goes side by side with family boundaries. Welcome to my Boundary Bootcamp series, where we delve into those awkward and tricky boundaries that you might need to set in your life and how exactly to communicate them incredibly clearly. Let's get into it. To add to the guilt that you might already be feeling about saying no to family, you might get some help from them in the form of these common phrases. So they might say, after everything I've done for you, or you've changed, you're ungrateful, family should always be there for each other, or the passive aggressive one, my favourite, fine, I won't ask you for anything ever again. Two go-to phrases that you can use are, you are important to me, but I need to focus on X right now. Or I care about you, but I don't have the capacity. And after that, you might well hear, but I thought you cared. In which case, you can say, I do care. And that's why I'm being honest about what I can give right now. So if that isn't enough and you need some really concrete ways to communicate your boundary, if it's just not getting through, then you can use these phrases. You can say, I understand you're disappointed. My decision is still the same. Or, I know this isn't what you wanted to hear, but this is still my answer. Or, I'm not going to argue about whether I'm allowed to make that choice. These are super clear ways of communicating your boundary, and once you've done that, communicating the boundary, your work is done. So your work isn't to convince the other person to get on your side or see your point of view, it's to communicate really clearly where your limit is. And if a family member is still ignoring, breaking your boundary after you've been super clear, then you need to decide, and it's best to decide in advance what you're going to take, because it's no longer about them. It's about what decision you are going to make to protect yourself. It might be limiting time with that person, it might be leaving the situation, but it's best to have a plan in advance, just so you're not put in the spot, which is when we can just crumble and give in. So remember the golden rule when setting boundaries with family. Just because someone is unhappy with your boundary does not mean that your boundary is unfair. If you've ever struggled with a family boundary, let me know. Or if there's a certain type of boundary that you want to talk about, let me know and we'll get into it in the next video. Follow so you don't miss the next Boundary Bootcamp video.